come back afterwards. It's not their forte. That's why it's odd. It doesn't feel like they know they're an enemy.
There is no easy lane against Lina, though.
Sorry to detour us through the game that was actually on our screen. Again, there's 4 streams going on at the same time. You can check them out. It's equals EN, EN2, EN3, EN4. And this one is, of course, on just EN. No number behind it.
So you think it's tiny mid then?
Or you can just watch
Monkey
here.
mid.
Oh, okay.
Guys, before we come back, I just want to say that Tundra also Phoenix.
Yes, I think so.
Tundra also Phoenix.
Phoenix is such a good pick versus Undying and Tiny.
I mean, they won their first game. They are, with the draft, on track to win a second. We'll have to just wait and see if that's indeed going to be the case. Or maybe the strategy works. You know, you never know. Don't count Excretion out.
So much to watch.
Yet.
All heart.
All right, we got the last pick coming in for EG. They'll end up with a Venomancer.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the side there. It's like Chris Luck, I think he's going monkey mid. Yep. He loves it. Yep. It's against a melee hero mid in the Pangolier. Then they're like Tiny, probably going to 4 here. Cause definitely playing NP versus the DP, probably one of the better matchups there. And then Whisper just had last pick against the Ursa with the Tiny 4. He could have played the Tiny, but you don't really want to play Tiny versus an Ursa.
No,
so
you want to play a Venom.
You want to play Venomancer. You want to get it
That's
really.
Fun.
It's actually a really good concept of the draft because whereas the mid game it kind of stabilizes, the lanes are really difficult PSG or JD. And if you watch their games in China, they can beat any team if they snowball off the lanes. It's one of their best strategies. They struggle a little bit, particularly in mid game decision making, which is what I think Beast Coast is banking on. So as long as so as long as they're capable of taking these lanes, I think LGD is in a tough spot. Yeah. We'll see if they can take it late, where I think their decision making becomes good again because of Xiaoba.
I think also the issue is they're just playing with a different offlaner too. It just changes a lot in how they were used to playing with each other. It makes a big difference. And while Old 11 is a very good player, it's just not what they're used to. And something that LGD did was after they won their lanes, they just kind of distributed their heroes to farm as much as they could. You know, sometimes they didn't even want to like choke the enemies out. They just had their like carry Luna or what have you farming one side of the map, and then they had their Marcy farming the other side of the map, and then they would just kind of congregate at some point in the mid game and just take over. You can't do that kind of thing versus EG.
Isn't that also the most Old 11 thing to do? I remember watching him in Vici, and you'd go, does Old 11 think he's the carry? And he would just farm. He would actually carry the game for his team. He would play the Lycans, the Dooms.
We got 3 Linas in the next line of games. We got a Primal Beast there coming out as well for TSM. That should be an exciting one. But old drafts are about rounded out here.
Oh no, Spirit draft. I want to see. Thank you.
There you go.
They're perfect. All right. I mean, this is a game. I mean, I was looking closely at TSM here because they got Ricky Lina, right? And I think Team Spirit, well, they got Collapse, which is, you know, pretty good mag player. But they have the Rubik mag lane. This is a lane that I see a lot of teams try to go for versus Lina that has worked. You know, the telekinesis back into the skewer. It can put Lina in a really bad spot if it works.
Yeah, and just throughout the game, the horn toss into Skewer too as a repositioning tool, it can either force her BKB or force her hiker, just one big item cooldown, and you then choose to play around. But I do think Ricky is one of the better heroes at stopping a Magnus in its tracks.
Yeah.
Like if Livingston, you can smoke on top of it. It RPs and wants the Skewer back, let's say it gets a 2 or 3 on RP, you smoke on top of it. It blinks into horn toss the Skewer, you dart it.
Is there anything you would like against Lina Ricky?
No, I mean, this is pretty good as far as it goes.
Let's compare.
As far as it goes,
Execration is playing versus Lina Ricky, or Team Spirit. Which one do you prefer versus Lina Ricky?
I prefer Team Spirit, definitely and massively.
I agree.
So
we're just seeing different approaches, right, to the same opening.
So the approach by Execration is trying to stop her while she's farming, right? Having early activation heroes and just hunting her down and then getting on top of her with Monkey King Pango, or...
Yeah, I mean, Tiny has a toss back too, I suppose. We were seeing the Pango in both of them. Like, both these lineups, I think all the teams realize at this point when you are playing versus Lina, you don't let her sit back and just like right-click you. You need to get aggressive early. You need to find a way to get on top of the Lina. I think the BKB Pierce is actually a very important aspect of it as well, because Lina gets a very fast BKB. If you don't have a way of dealing with that, then you can't really kill her. So this is a mag is something I've seen a lot versus Lina, but it's had mixed results.
I think Magnus, as a hero, has changed a lot over the years. Obviously, we saw him used more of a reposition than some like big multiple hero disable with the RP. We've seen him have patches where he only buffed his carry, but he doesn't even have to do that anymore. He can just play his own game. He can build auras. But the thing about Magnus is I feel like people have gotten used to playing versus him in every single playstyle that he has. It doesn't feel the same as when Magnus kind of like in TI10 when Magnus came out of nowhere and people were like, wait, what? You can do it this way? So I think teams have gotten very good at playing against it. And yeah, we have arguably the best Magnus player in the entire world playing it right now. But I think TSM should have this idea of how they want to approach this Magnus. I'm sure they've thought about, okay, if we start with this Lina, we're going to get Rubik Magnus. What do we do next? Yeah. I'm sure they've practiced.
Right. And then the last thing I was going to say, I think Talon is just completely outpicked here. Like, unfortunately, like, they're playing off-lane bat. Really not a big fan of this patch. Like, you have to kill this Lina, but she has a stun. Tree can slow you up a bunch, heal you. It seems rough. They picked TA, the lowest win rate hero. That's going to get counterpicked now by Gaming Gladiators.
We did mention the TA win rate. I forgot about that. Oh, that's grim. Yeah.
Why, though? I'm trying to make heads or tails of the talent draft.
Sure. I mean, why what? Is your
why
question?
all the, like, why the bad rider, why the TA? I see how the draft
You're
works.
the SEA expert, Apple. We should be asking you that.
Yeah, but I asked why in most of the SEA games. But I mean, like, I see that this draft kind of works together, right? You have, like, the kind of physical damage combos, similar activation times. I see where their draft works together, but if I look at their opponents, it feels like you guys kind of get crushed by their opponents. I also don't know why they let the Lina through over Brew.
I just think Drow Ranger is a better approach than TA for what Talon want to go for here. Like, TA doesn't play versus Tree in the same way that Drow Ranger does.
That's a very good point.
She doesn't pierce the armor. Sure, she has armor reduction through meld, but she still struggles versus living armor. Overgrowth completely crushes her, and even the Tree and Shard crushes her, whereas she doesn't necessarily feel as comfortable as Drow does playing without things like BKB. So, I don't know. I hope that this idea is going to work out for them because it looked like they had a lot of fight in them, and I want to see that happen here. But I think TA versus Lina, like, it definitely sucks for TA now.
Yeah, I mean, do we have any off-lane bat believers in the house? Have we seen it in
if
the
it's
other
Whisper,
region?
I'll take it.
If it's Whisper, so very specific.
Yeah. He's the only person I would trust for that.
Ah, man, like, I'm just like, I never see this work because, like, Bat Rider's the hero. Yeah, it's great mid, but level 1 sticky is just so bad. And, like, you get your level 2, level 3 so slowly that a lot of these heroes that they peak at level 2 on the side lanes, and you don't, like, get that opportunity to really come online unless there's, like, some rotation. So I'm always a little worried about it, and I think somehow this draft went in a position where they picked Bat, and there's like, then they counterpicked it with Storm, which is a great matchup mid, and they're like, all right, we're going to pick Puck, which is good against Storm now. Mm-hmm. Now they're forced into this Bat off lane, which has to have some level of impact.
I guess if you were able to somehow circumvent the earlier levels by Tusk, like, cutting the wave and making sure that you just get the experience there, you can run down the Lina. There's not much the Trimpeter can do if you Firefly onto her unless you grasp and that's it. Maybe.
I mean, I don't think it's awful, right? Because you can punish this Tree if Tree gets a little bit too confident on the lane. You can also just use Flame Breaker. You don't necessarily have to play around your Firefly. You can just reposition this Lina with the Flame Break and then kind of force her in with shards. Like, there are ways that you can approach this lane. Like, I do feel that as far as bot off lanes go, this one does have a shot of actually working out.
You know how we said at the start of the day that we were going to focus on 2 series, and PSG versus EG is one of them.
Okay.
Now we have now got the information of the draft of the other ones. Do we want to stick with Spirit versus Tundra or not? It's not Tundra. Spirit versus TSM. Wow, blanked on that one. Do we find that one exciting enough to focus on?
I would like to watch it just out of curiosity to see if this Ricky Lina will be defeated by Spirit. I genuinely want to know because I feel like that's going to set a tone.
I'm going to watch all of them, so I don't care.
No. This is because I love this. I love this screen as well. But I do want people to know that E pulls EN2, E pulls EN4, E pulls EN3, and also a normal E pulls EN. That you can go there and watch the game full screen
with casters now.
With casters as well. We are going to focus on 2. So I'm giving you guys a chance to flip flop if you feel like you want to.
Can we do the Ricky Lina ones? I also want to watch Execration.
Yeah. So, you want to ditch PSG versus EG?
I'm not ditching.
I want to see if someone beats the Ricky Lina. If they beat the Ricky Lina, I think it's a huge thing.
But
it's unanimous.
It's Spirit
who
have a better shot at beating.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch the Mag versus the Ricky Lina, and not the. I don't watch that Visage again.
Okay, I've been overruled. I'm sorry.
It's a democracy over here. It's all good. Okay, so we will stick with the 2 that we had in mind. Glad to confirm that one. We're gonna leave the other 2. We feel like Execration has got a tough job ahead of them. What do we then feel about like final words on Talon versus Gaming Gladiators? If people are gonna head over to that stream, what do we feel like they are gonna have to look out for?
For me, I think it'll be dependent on how impactful this offlane bat can be. But if the lane goes in a way where they actually manage to kill the Lina, I can see this bat having an excellent game. So I think if you're tuning into that game, watch out for that Jabs bat right here. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, on board with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. It has to go well or it's going to be ugly.
Same with the Visage. It's the same idea.
All right, all about those offlaners.
I'm so over Visage.
It's been one game. Please, give them a chance. All right, well then let's do focus our attention onto Spirit, TSM, and PSG LGD. EG, any favorites of where we want to head first? Oh, we don't get the choice. It's TSM versus Spirit as they are just into the game. Just to recap what has happened in the draft since. I don't think there's too much surprises as to who's playing what.
PA.
Yeah, I mean, as your residential NA expert here, like the draft here, Bryle, he can play a lot of stuff. He's played the Coddle, but that's not the style I want him to play. Like, him being on a Primal Beast, him being on like a Tusk, the Space Maker, right? We talk about it all the time. It's really good, and it's mainly just because of their offlaner. Like, this isn't like some Jabs type offlaner where he's gonna pick some random stuff. Kasane, he's a Zoo specialist. He wants to play the Enigma, he wants to play the Visage, he wants to play Beast, Lycan, all these heroes, and he is super good at them. And even the top players, like even Sabra, is like, he's learning from Kasane's Lycan because he's just that good at these heroes. And if you want to make that style work, your mid has to make some rotations because he's going to be farming a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's high praise for sure for Saberlight to say that, because Saberlight is a notorious Zoo player as well. So for him to watch an up-and-comer and learn tips and tricks, that's very cool. I actually didn't get to catch much of TSM's games in the last tour. I did watch their series versus rounds, which I feel wasn't telling of what they are now, because that was very early on in the tour. And of course, their series when they leaned Shopify Rebellion.
Right.
But I feel that this team is a team that I still don't quite know how good they are.
Are we at a point where, because of course Team Spirit won game 1 of this series, is this the only series where we're expecting the series to go to a tie and the rest is all 2-0s?
It could well be a tie.
It kind of sounds like that's the way we're leaning.
If I didn't see the draft for GPS GLGD, I could have said that's a tie too.
Power of
Okay,
Rookie.
yeah.
He
But
got fade vaulted.
the power of Rune.
He was chased away by the Fade Vault.
Oh, no.
By the way, I don't have that much faith in PA as a hero these days, but I feel that in the situations where PA can look good, it's definitely versus Lina. Like, her ability to just jump on Lina and burst her, and of course having the Empower from the Magnus fixes a lot of her issues. So I am really curious to see how Yatoro does with this hero. If there's a player in this tour that can make PA look good, I think it is him.
I do want to add to that Team Spirit clearly are watching all the regions, because this is the same build. The idea of Magnus PA, Fart Studios was actually.
Oh yeah, you're going to use them as an example. Okay.
They clearly learned from Fart Studios. We'll see if they go for Diffusal Blade PA, which was the idea of that game.
Diffusal Manta, Ags.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, just off the data, like, I'm not going to say it's a bad build or anything, but unfortunately that build did not win. So maybe by the data they should try something new.
I think PA as a hero conceptually has always countered Lina, just because even before Lina was played this way, she had this really strong BKB timing from the mid lane that other teams weren't, other heroes can't really play into, but PA has her own early BKB timing that if Lina BKBs, she also BKBs and just jumps on her face. Yeah. It's like something that's always been in her favor. The issue with PA, though, is that her laning is not great. Her farm speed before she has Battle Fury, absolutely not great, especially if she has a hard lane.
Yeah.
Magnus has always corrected that, but then you just have your PA farming with Empower in the triangle, and you've kind of relegated your Magnus to just kind of giving her Empower and not actually having impact on the lane.
So I hope that doesn't happen, because I've actually watched a fair share of this Magnus in the NA region, and unfortunately the Magnus, when it looks good, it plays for itself. It doesn't really worry so much about the Empower. And when it hasn't looked so good, it's when it just drops off, doesn't get any farm, just sits behind the carry, kind of like an old school type of thing. I mean, maybe Collapse has learned from the Jenkins mag, took some notes there and plays a little different.
Did he though?
I do like your point as well, because the offlane right now is probably the most important position right now, and having a mag relegated to I'm just going to buff a carry feels like a waste of a close slot there. I do want to point out though that the Wraith Pact, even though now it got nerfed, it still deals with the physical damage, something that PA kind of struggles with if you don't have a Wraith Pact breaker, and they do have an Enigma which can easily buy that and kind of crush this hero early.
How early can he prioritize that though?
If you're an Enigma, I think you're one of the more versatile aura buyers. Obviously, Greaves still seems like the better item, but in this game, especially because I can't see what would break the Wraith Pact. I guess Enchantress deals with it at some point, but it's not that easy.
I actually like that you bring up that point as a potential Wraith Pact game because PA isn't the type of hero that has ever been able to break a Wraith Pact. If she does, she has to commit her BKB and chase it around a little bit. But she gets her attack speed from a spell that she casts on enemies. She doesn't get her attack speed just by sitting on the floor and hitting a Wraith Pact. So that is pretty unfortunate. So I'm actually quite curious if Saberlight has identified this and will go for it because I'm sure it's something that he's done before.
It's Kasane on this game.
Right.
Yes.
I'm getting my NA offliners.
Other NA team.
Other NA team. But yeah. And the thing about the PA Magnus is I feel like that's always worked best when PA has a good start. When PA doesn't need to rely on the Magnus throughout the game and Magnus can just play for itself, then it looks really good. But so far, it looks like PA is being able to farm just by nature of having an Ent on her lane. But I do feel that this Mirana and this Enigma can just pressure her. Yeah. Once he hits that level 6.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a good point with that Enchantress versus Enigma. It's like this looks like a terrible Enigma game. You're playing versus Rubik, you're playing versus Pango, you're playing versus Mag. You know, Pango can buy the Basher and stop the BKB Black Hole attempt. You know, Magnus at some point can just, if you get a good I mean, if you're as good as Collapse, you're going to find that perfect spot to blink and RP and stop it. But a lot of these players, they don't care about the Black Hole, and we see it time and time again. But I feel like that's kind of like good. Like when it's not a really great game for it, it's not like a Lycan, it's not like a Beast where you truly don't need to rely. There's a lot to be played here, but if Team Spirit do win this game, they're going to look really scary. Like the first team at the major that can actually like beat a Ricky and a Lina.
And Ricky and
right?
as well.
It's going to be like, it's going to be, that team's going to be good. I'm going to put it that way.
But you feel like they have a good start here to the game? Because we mentioned all these things that TSM can do, and we didn't even mention the Lina part of it all. It's like they got Black Hole, they can play with the arrow and the dart, you know, they've got Brow popping off. Well, he was kind of caster cursed again, I guess. If they get him again, I mean, no, there's no way.
Yeah, this is really bad. I don't think your Primal Beast can be dying like this at this stage of the game. That's not what you picked us to do.
They got the return kill though, so at least it was a trade at the end. But I will say, like, it's not a good sign when you pick an Enigma, and the other team picked a Mag, and the Mag is doing better in the laning stage, right? Because Magnus is a hero that scales a lot better, isn't really relying to... It's not supposed to crush its lane. That's not its purpose. Whereas Enigma, you want to be winning the lane.
You can argue the same about Pango and Primal Beast, where in these early moments, the Primal Beast is should be looking much scarier, and these equal trades definitely favor the team with the Pango and also the eventual BL.
You know what TSM do have going for them, though?
What then?
Lina.
In about 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yes, of course.
One of their Ricky here will finally be online.
The shard timing for anyone confused.
Yes.
What is their solution to that? Do you looking like Ricky, for example, can Rubik buy shard and act as the save for when that combo comes up?
Because Rubik is having a good game, basically your job as a Rubik is to just like get it dust in the team fights, try to find this Ricky, lift him away, and just steal his dart or steal his smoke. Smoke is also a very good spell that you can steal as a Rubik. Especially if you have that and you have that level 15 talent with the cooldown reduction, you're throwing out as much smokes as Ricky is in his talents.
With the massive range as well, because
I mean, you should see the Rubik stolen dart. It's not fair.
The best way to counter Ricky is just take his dart instead.
I mean, it lasts longer. You can cast it at further range. It's obnoxious.
I think, though, that as a Ricky, your job is to not give away this stuff.
It is, for sure.
You have so many other spells, though. You have 3 active spells, so you want to just tricks of the trade right after you dart. If you get dusted, if you see this Rubik is nearby, that's on you. And every Ricky player should be capable of stopping. Like, if Rubik can steal dart more than once in a game, you've done something wrong, I think.
Yeah.
How early do you want Team Spirit to buy a gem?
Gem.
Yeah.
I mean, I only want teams to buy a gem when they have like map control. Like Roshan timing. Generally, like if you have an Aegis, if you're really confident, you can go with the first Aegis. But I'd say normally on the second Aegis timing is a good timing for the gem.
I feel like once your PA has BKB and you've got an Aegis up on her, then you can potentially buy this gem on the Rubik and just use this.
Oh wow.
Okay. Nice steal. Gets tipped. Lovely. I mean, it'll still die, but you know, I think as a Rubik, you're pretty happy with that.
I mean, that favors TSM though.
You're sad as a Rubik, I think.
I mean, I think.
Why are you sad as a Rubik? You can just kill Lina with her own Laguna Blade.
Because your PA died and
your Mag.
And your Mag.
And you lost your tier 1 bot tower.
Did you just kill Lina with her own Laguna Blade?
I mean,
the satisfaction is there.
Yeah, the satisfaction.
Okay, so
you're right.
the Rubik is happier getting that kill than not getting that kill.
That's true.
But when Timado tips you, it's because Timado knows that benefits them more.
Yeah. You will only tip when he knows he's on the right side.
Again.
Oh, what a
The
nice
question
use.
is, if he dies here, will he get counter tipped?
What an arrow.
You see, he tried to block with a skelly, it didn't work out.
Tip him.
Oh, he's out.
He's out.
Wow.
That's impressive. He's actually not just out, he's back in.
He's doing Melina.
He's being, I mean,
The fact that Enigma didn't have to rotate until you take the tier 1, he had the chillest of lanes, now he actually has a meaningful rotation, is a little bit scary for Team Spirit. Because it doesn't feel like he had the slow start that he was supposed to do, pointing out that Magnus is doing well. Feels like he's online the right time.
Yeah. I mean, this game is completely flipped though with those last 2 engagements there. So it's like, there's a lot of game left to be played. This game is really exciting. It's close in a lot of ways because like Team Spirit does have like that ultra late game potential here with like the PA Mag, but you know, they were looking like they were going to surpass that and get there faster, but TSM winning those 2 fights, I think Spirit was a little too anxious to make things happen there. Yeah. I mean, that Whitemon arrow, though, was like pretty clutch as well, just to save Delina, so things are going really well for TSM.
Yes, and with that note, though, we did say we were going to watch both games. I do just want to update that PSG is actually doing pretty well against EG in game number 2. I don't know if we can switch in a little bit just to check in. I do agree that this game is really good, so I kind of want to stick around with this one, but you know, we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't also check the rest of the games that we said we would.
We'll come back, right?
Yeah. And
2 more minutes, guys.
You know, for those 2 minutes, we could just go 2 minutes PSG, LGD, EG, and
2
then
minutes
back.
will be the beginning of this game, right?
Because that game, the most important part is, did the lanes go as EG expected?
Yeah.
And if they didn't, then PSG LG is actually in a pretty good spot. Because they countered them in lanes specifically.
Yeah. How's the Vino doing, right?
That's the question.
That's the question.
I'm also curious about the bat rider on Paladin. I just need to know what happened on that lane,
Need
too.
to watch everything.
Also, Execration is still leading by net worth. I'm seeing. Maybe it's
I mean,
the
can we
Visage's
bring
time
like
to
the 4-stream panel for a little bit to catch up? Will that be a
I
possibility?
mean, we're finding out if the technology is there
All
for
right.
us.
I'm very okay with that.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Arcane Ring steal would be good.
Just so we can like be like, oh, what's going on here, and then like
Yeah.
tune in the one that has the most promise.
Just
But
look at that
until-
Lina net worth lead. That's just so unpleasant.
This
we're
is
just gonna go
okay.
in.
EGPS LGD. What has happened? I know we didn't watch the first 20 minutes, but tell me what.
Oh, what?
What happened? Ursa is actually doing very well.
Yeah, Veno is not working out the way they wanted it
No.
to.
Yeah, that Whisper got destroyed. Did they swap mates?
If we weren't watching, I don't know. Maybe.
I'm surprised that this flame could go that badly.
I mean, the thing is, for Veno, things can go bad really easily if you wanted to, right? So like they could have just tri-laned at the beginning, right?
That's true. That's true.
And just really like destroyed his lane. That wouldn't have been impossible for them. Or they could have just been like, DP had a better lane than she should have, and you can just make the rotation from the 4 like at level 2, level 3, right? So I think something of that nature probably happened where they put a lot of focus on shutting down this Venomancer in the laning stage. Or they just got outplayed. It's really hard to know without seeing, but those are some options.
You lovely Twitch chatters can, of course, spam it in the chat, which we won't see.
Yeah, of course.
Tell us what happened here.
But it doesn't matter. As you know,
Yeah, now-
costs go down.
Now they're a little bit screwed. I don't feel like you want to be in this position against PSG LGD. If they make a mistake now, maybe, but they don't have many. Like, their draft is pretty easy to play, quote unquote. Just run at you, play 5-on-5, and you don't really have many resources to come back. No force multiplier either. The Veno is not a great hero to play from behind.
I mean,
Awful hero to play from behind.
so they picked this Veno just as a way to deal with the heals on the side of LGD, right? Like conceptually.
And Ursa in lane, right?
But even Ursa, here's the thing. I don't think Veno completely counters Ursa in lane. Like, it is unpleasant, but if you have a hero like Enchantress with you, you're totally fine.
Yeah.
Because Enchantress can sustain you through Nature's Attendance, and she can just bully out the Veno. She can make Veno focus on her instead of her carry. So I think that potentially it wasn't even the best Veno pick from what I'm looking at here. These side lanes of DP and Clock look absolutely horrific. I think DP is probably one of the most difficult offlaners to deal with if she gets a good start.
Yeah.
Like, just killing her is such a hassle, right? She's the kind of hero that baits you to go on her. She just puts herself really far out there. You mess up somehow. Suddenly she's siphoning a creep, she's siphoning your support, she's siphoning you, she's siphoning whoever's in her face, and then you're all dead.
You die, and then, oh, she's level 6, now your tower's gone.
It's just
It's not fun.
Who was paired up with the Venom? Was it the Tiny?
Yeah, it was tiny. I mean, it should have been. Like, on paper, unless it was CM. The supports are tiny and CM, so.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll never know what happened, but from
Well,
from
I'll go
what
back later.
from
Needed.
what
Oh,
I
that was
see-
3 hits.
That was 3 hits. I mean, it seems like Shiro is having a great game, Shiro.
And the thing about Veno versus Ursa is that if Veno doesn't win the lane, then Ursa just itemizes naturally
Yeah.
to play against Veno. Like, he likes to buy Blink Dagger. It's something he buys with or without a Veno.
True.
He loves to buy BKB. It's something he's going to buy with or without a Veno. And he has an ultimate that gives him the ability to just, like, status resist that slow and just get in his face and kill him. So you're kind of doing a little bit of a 50-50 with, okay, if we're going to pick Veno here, we're going to do this to win our lane. And if we don't, we're just going to get completely rolled over.
That's the Veno effect.
That's what's
That is
happening.
the Veno effect.
Yeah, it's because, like, I personally have not liked Veno as a hero for a very long time now. I mean, I personally enjoyed playing it, it's fun to, like, own your lane, but, like,
But
it
would you
feels
play him
like-
as a core?
It
If
feels
you would
like-
play him in your own games, would
Veno
you play him as
Sport
a core?
sucks.
No,
Use-
this patch, no, I would not play him. I don't think he's strong enough, but, like, Viper, the stronger version, was banned, or they would have taken it. And Whisper, he can make it work. He's willing to take the gamble most of the time. Just, LGD just had their number on this one.
I think Veno, there is a cool idea with the heal reduction that comes out of Veno, like with his ulti. It is something that works well versus the Bloodstone barriers of this patch. It's something that works well versus DP, but it has to do well. It's worse than Visage. We were talking about Visage, if he has a bad lane, how
definitely
miserable
worse,
that
yeah.
hero is. Veno is much, much more miserable because what happens when Veno loses his lane is that he has to shift into his triangle and catch up. So he's taking away the triangle from his other 2 cores. He's not really contributing any kind of map presence, and he puts himself at risk for any kind of invasion. He's not a hero that can get away if he gets smoked at. And often he is the hero that enemies find in the triangle when they're smoking into a team from behind.
Yeah, he also doesn't have, like, a level 6 power spike. Like, if you lose your lane with Visage, at least you're 6, you can start pushing. With Veno, level 6, you don't really get that much stronger, so it's really a catch-up game.
So are we all just saying no to Veno right now? So Veno is
Yes,
not a hero?
I agree.
Well, yeah,
I mean, they're going to keep
maybe
picking it.
set yourself up for success. I mean,
It's
this
risky.
would have been
let's put it that
so
way.
different if he did win the lane,
Bye,
right? We would
Whisper.
have been having a very different talk.
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
be.
I mean,
And we don't know exactly, obviously, what went wrong, but we could have been like it could have been just this one moment where, like, yes, then now your lane sucks.
But that's why
Too
we don't
bad,
like
you-
the Veno. You know,
Sure, yeah, I get it.
If one wrong thing happens and it's
And this
it's sad.
happens,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
sad.
I do feel like this team will keep on picking it regardless of what happens, though, because
Right.
they do have two
Fair
Veno
enough.
players
players in the team. The two are both mid and offlane, right?
The mid Veno.
Yeah, I mean, C-Smile loves the Veno mid. He
Yeah,
does it
yeah.
all the time. And I see what Effie's talking about with the heal reduction. Theoretically, the hero should be better this patch than a lot of people give it credit for.
I'm looking at the lane and it's like we're saying that potentially there was one bad moment, but I generally feel like Enchantress Ursa is capable of beating Veno. I don't think that's an auto win lane for Veno by any means.
Yeah.
No, that's a tough lane, regardless.
Right? It looks like LGD were completely crushed.
Yeah, I mean, I
this
think that
game.
lane, like, if you don't win in the first couple levels as the Ench Ursa, the lane gets really hard. But if you do, it's an easy lane.
To me, this one looks over. I don't see that much potential for a comeback. I think
You want to go back to the Ricky?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
agree
think
with
I think we might want to go back to indeed Team Spirit versus TSM.
Yeah. And usually games aren't over that often if you have a Nature's Prophet because he can just, cut waves and do side lane shenanigans and just extend games for long periods of time. But you are playing against the Vision coming out of Rocket Flare, playing against the Enchantress is also going to be providing Vision or pushing out lanes passively with her creep. Like, they do have ways to deal with this Nature's Prophet rat, so...
And it's not permanent. We can switch back if it seems like we do see EG make a comeback, but at the moment it doesn't look likely.
It won't be until like 50 minutes, you know. So this game will
so
still be
see you in 30, 20, see you in 20 minutes. We'll see if that indeed happens.
I think this one ends in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bold
if there's no comeback, I would agree.
Well, let's then get back on Team Spirit and TSM if we can, please. Because we were here for about what, 2 minutes? No, we were here longer than 2 minutes. So the
Dart's
is
online.
out. The dart's online.
It's been used at
Wait.
least a couple times. It might kill the support.
Enchantress is alive.
When the Ursa feels like you can hit Ancients in the middle of the fight, I think you're probably fine.
Oh no. Enchantress is healing through Veno damage. Shouldn't be that way.
And she almost has Lotus as well.
Very farmed.
Let's go to the Shard, Chiefs.
Let's go to the shard.
Spirit, TSM. That would be indeed lovely. And we can see how that game progresses in the meantime. I mean, we can see from the corner of our eye that the Ricky Lina on the side of Tundra is not doing too hot.
I think the boys are doing it.
I think Execration's actually. Well, can we change? I want to change my request. I actually really want to check in, like even if just for a couple minutes, because it does seem like they did it.
I want the quad stream.
Oh, can we get the cross? We are changing our. I feel like we're being really.
These
mean.
talents always asking for
yeah.
things.
Wait, can we actually watch Execration? Because if they defeated this
Yes.
Ricky Lina before Spirit did, that is cool. I take back everything I said
Absolutely.
about them sucking at lanes.
All heart. That's what I'm
All
talking
heart, no brain will
Yeah.
work.
That's the major low.
Well, this game is really close though. It's a 1K advantage for TSM, but
Yeah. I mean, we'll
like
definitely
nothing.
be watching this one more in depth because it's actually seeming like Execration might just win also within the next 5 minutes. And when Effie said that PSGLTD would win in the next 5 to 10 minutes, she should have said win in the next like 2 minutes because that's kind of what's happening. right
Did they
now.
end?
I mean, they're about
Well, kind of.
kind of.
Kind of. Let's hope nobody enters the fountain and then it should be okay.
So in Spirit, they're looking pretty good right now, right?
They
They've
are.
managed to wave the storm, and now they have enough of a lead to allow PA to destroy Lina.
I will say, when we're saying they're looking really good, the game is even. The only good thing about it is that Spirit has the ages.
Yeah, but there's
that's
the
good
Ricky,
for them.
and there's Ricky Marana for 8 minutes, and they still haven't gotten the lead yet. So.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, for 8 minutes, that's a long time.
And they just killed the Ricky on the side, and they've got this Aegis. It looks like they could potentially go
all right.
high ground
I
here
didn't
if
say
they
a
want
word.
to.
Did not say a single word.
Claps the setup.
Did you guys see what build they did? No.
Oh, Shard is hit Greaves. Only Greaves.
Okay, only Greed.
Just pour them.
So,
I love
Build
this.
poverty. Okay.
I love this Aether Lens Magnus. I will skewer you as far as you can go.
I like
Very
that
exciting
too.
stuff.
I mean, he has AK. He must have something else. I'm not sure. We'll have to go back to him.
It's a very. I like the selfish Magnus. I agree with the point that you have to play for yourself. in
You
this
do.
match. Yeah.
Like the days of having like an under-farmed core in general are long gone. Like all your cores have to have some impact. They have to have an impact in the late game. Have a BKB, Blink, Force, whatever, something to survive the initiation. If you ever just go in with like one Blink dagger, it's never gonna work. You're gonna get stunned at some point, and you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait till they click on the Enigma because I did say he had Greaves, which he does have.
But he must have
Yeah.
something else, right?
But he must have something else.
I think he already almost had Greaves when we
feel like
left
he has a
him.
dagger or something, or
Oh, so there you go. That's the dagger. Okay.
oh, he's just got the dagger.
So
okay.
he's playing
Yeah.
around the black hole and trying to just be an initiator.
I mean, just the stunners. I mean, I feel like it's very hard to find an impact as Enigma when you're in this position. I guess for most Zoo heroes, you don't want to be in this position. But like the one thing that Enigma has that a lot of teams like want is like team fight, right? Like, but how do you get that team fight rolling? If it was like a Beast or something, yeah, Beast's game is completely halted. At least he's the roar. But does he even have a black hole this game? Very possible with this Blink Dagger, I feel.
You know, I mentioned earlier that I think this could have been a potentially very good Vessel game on Enigma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kill threat that's going to come out of just playing with a Mirana support who can follow up on your Malefic stuns, and just having the Vessel to be able to kill this Enchantress, pressure the PA early on. I feel like a lot of the Zoo players, once the meta develops in a way where you kind of know what's good and what isn't, you start to stick to the same item build every single game. And I feel that maybe this wasn't the best one to go for the Aura build on Enigma here. Or you could have just doubled back and got it after you went for a more aggressive early game build.
Oh, I see. So you could actually have two heroes that are active, not wait for
Yeah.
the Ricky Mirana timing. Because it is true that once the Primal Beast starts to die, you lose that initiator early that can just take over the game, and then Enigma needs to do a little bit more. But with the Aura build, that was impossible.
And there's always just more than one way to play a hero, and if you
Oh, they stole the dart.
They stole the darts. That's
You
literally
do be
that's how
dead.
you do it. They just steal the dart, and then
Effie was
I
right.
think
that
this
should
one's
happen.
over.
there's no buyback there either on the Lina. The PSGL to the EG one is over, by the way. That game too went to PSGL to D, so that series ties now. And this looks like it could very well be a tie. Execration Tundra.
It
Looks
seems
like
like
it could
Lina-
be a tie.
I mean,
And to
Ricky
be
is
honest,
falling.
What's doesn't
so
have
we
eyes?
have not mentioned at all Gaming Gladiators Talon, and we don't know what was happening in that game. I can
That's
only
true.
see it a little bit.
Oh.
We will
They
soon
they
see
gave
the
up
quad.
on
No. We will soon see the quad stream.
Perfect.
It seems like Talon is doing well.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, they have a net worth lead and they have kill lead. So I
Okay.
mean that's literally all I can see at the moment. We'll see.
SCA
We'll
rise
Can we
see.
up.
watch the smoke versus smoke in the execution
Yes, we-
game? Oh, it looks exciting.
We will
Can-
see
can
the quad
Execration
stream
close
soon.
it out? That's what I'm worried about.
No, don't.
Don't worry.
You don't have to worry. If there's one thing they do well is closing out. Well,
All right.
Well,
well,
let me think
okay. I'm
about
actually,
that.
actually thinking back to the game, so that's not entirely true. Don't put the camera on me when I say this.
No, I'll put the camera on you. And we'll put the camera on
They're
anyone
very-
we like, really.
They're good on punishing people that don't close out games.
Yes.
Which means they don't never get to close out their own games because they
Yes.
usually lose the first 40 minutes. Of the
All right.
Okay. So we've
Making
had
history.
quite some time here, having fun watching the game. I thank you all for joining our block party. Block party will continue for a very long time, of course. We're going to leave you with the quad string for a second. You'll be back with a fresh batch of people to entertain you. That's what you want. That's what everybody wants. I want to be entertained as well, and I know I will with the following batch of people. So quad string coming up. Good luck trying to follow 3 games at the same time, and we'll be back.
scanning. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire are scanning. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Where are you going?
Yes, this will do just fine. A bounty which my matriarch will prize. Unseen, but not unskewered.